Come, let us compare the ancient narrative of understanding the mysteries of the universe through the eyes of people in ancient times with the meticulous observations of modern science. The creation of the sky, a cosmic dome through ancient eyes on the second day of creation, the sacred texts tell us. The firmament that separates the waters, that is, a distinct boundary was drawn between the water above and the water below, as if a bridge was established between the depths and heights of the universe. This depiction offers a hierarchy symbolizing cosmic order in the eyes of ancient worlds. It conveys that everything is in its place, in harmony, and each entity has a designated position. Here, the sky is read not only as a blue covering but as a sacred wall, a silent guardian, and a separating force. The creation of the sky from a scientific perspective in the light of modern science, the idea that the sky was created in this manner is not consistent with observations made about the workings of nature. Here's why. The structure and transition processes of the atmosphere. The atmosphere, as we know it today, is a layer of gas that gradually fades from the Earth. There is no fixed, sharp boundary in the shape of a dome. The atmosphere changes gradually in terms of pressure, temperature, and composite density. This situation contradicts ancient narratives that give the impression of a firmament that separates the water in a specific way. Nature offers a constantly moving, fluid, and variable order instead of a fixed and solid structure. Cosmic water and the real universe, the elements described as waters in ancient texts may be symbols used to express the chaotic beginning of the universe and the unknown. In scientific reality, the majority of the universe consists of emptiness, or vacuum. Our knowledge of stars, planets, and galaxies does not present any dense, uniform cosmic water. Water, as a special state of matter on Earth, is not observed in such a holistic water area throughout the universe. Cosmic hierarchy and natural laws. Ancient narratives state that the sky established a cosmic hierarchy by separating the waters. This presents a mystical view that the universe is organized into regular, static, and distinct layers. Science, while examining the structure of the universe, reveals that order is actually a process of continuous change and evolution. Planets, stars, and galaxies are shaped by dynamic processes such as gravitational laws, nuclear fusion, and thermodynamics. These processes are not operated by a fixed and sudden separation. On the contrary, they are gradual, adaptive, and continuous. The gap between mystical narrative and scientific reality, the creation of the sky in ancient narratives, the firmament that separates the waters, is one of the finest examples of the human mind's attempt to place the universe into a regular, meaningful, and hierarchical structure. This narrative is a spiritual and aesthetic language that appeals to the search for order within chaos and the unknown. On the other hand, modern science focuses on explaining the workings of the universe through experimental data, observation, and measurements. The gradual transition of the atmosphere, the vast emptiness of the universe, and cosmic dynamics present a fluid, ever-changing, and evolving structure instead of a firmament. Therefore, the creation of the sky in sacred texts remains a symbolic and mystical narrative rather than a realistic explanation according to modern scientific standards. Both perspectives represent different ways of understanding the universe. On the one hand, there is the deep, emotional, and symbolic language of sacred texts. On the other hand, there are the ruthless, measurable, and repeatable observations of science. Thus, ancient narratives and modern science present two separate but fascinating perspectives on the mysteries of the universe. One is a poem that touches the soul. The other is a meticulous exploration journey revealing the mathematical and physical signs of the universe. Now let's embark on a profound journey into the narrative of the third day. The sacred text describes the emergence of dry land appearing from beneath the water, followed by the birth of plants, trees, and grass. This poetic depiction of the universe's bounty and the orderly emergence of life presents an image of a sudden awakening within the chaos covered by water. From the dark waters, the land rises, revealing itself as part of the universe's planned and designed fabric. Subsequently, everything appears simultaneously. Living plants, trees, and grass emerge as if painted by an artist's brush within the miraculous order of life and abundance. This depiction evokes both aesthetic and spiritual meanings in the human mind. It suggests that a fixed, orderly and meaningful structure has been placed within the ever-changing chaos of nature. Why is it not realistic from a scientific perspective? However, modern scientific data evaluate this narrative from a different perspective. Here are some points on why this depiction is far from reality from a scientific perspective. Gradual formation process, geological data. Scientific research shows that the formation of the Earth's surface involves complex processes spanning billions of years. Soil gradually formed during our planet's early periods through intense volcanic activities, crustal movements, erosion, and sedimentation. Therefore, the event of land suddenly emerging from beneath the water does not align with the meticulous and long evolutionary story of natural processes. Plate tectonics and continental drift. Natural laws. The separation of continents from the waters occurs as a long-term result of sedimentation and plate movements. Plate tectonics, one of the cornerstones of modern geology, reveals that continents and oceanic crust form through gradual transitions without rigid and sharp boundaries. This process presents a dynamic and ever-changing evolutionary pattern that does not match the concept of a sudden separation of water and land described in the sacred text. Evolution of life and plants. Biological evolution. The emergence of plants, trees, and other vegetation also resulted from millions of years of evolutionary adaptation and diversification processes, rather than an instant miracle. The transition from simple photosynthetic organisms to complex plant life forms is seen as the fruit of a long, evolutionary journey, not a quickly completed sudden miracle. The gap between metaphorical symbolism and scientific reality. Power of symbols. The emergence of land in sacred texts symbolizes the artistic birth of order, abundance, and life from within chaos. This expression exalts the human soul's search for meaning within the voids of the universe and the aesthetic order of nature. The scientific method explains events as gradual processes within the framework of natural laws through observation, measurement, and experimentation. The fundamental difference between these two approaches is that one is based on emotional and symbolic realities, while the other relies on objective and measurable truths. Conclusion. In the ancient narrative, the emergence of land and plants reveals that the universe was created in an orderly, planned, and meaningful manner, spreading life as the deepest poetic expression of nature. However, from a scientific perspective, this process results from billions of years of gradual change and evolutionary development, rather than sudden miracles. Therefore, this narrative in sacred texts is a profound symbolic language reflecting the aesthetic meaning that the human mind and soul attribute to the universe. Modern science, on the other hand, specifies the reality revealed by the dynamic, ever-evolving, and measurable processes of the universe. Both approaches represent different yet equally rich perspectives on the nature of the universe. One is poetic and spiritual, while the other is objective and experimental.